Okay, we're recording.
Are you ready? Okay. All right. Good afternoon. This is May 15th, 2023. It's 2 o'clock, and this is the beginning of the Landbank Committee meeting. Could we please call a roll for attendance, please?
Steve Pajali,
Here.
John Orzak,
Here.
Brendan Heil,
Here.
Colleen Gilson,
Here.
Jared Oliver.
Here.
Okay. Pardon my voice. I'm trying to get the voice back, but apparently we're going to have to work with the listening here. What do we need to do here? This one. Okay. So the first item on the agenda would be the minutes from the 3/20/2023 Landbank Committee meeting. They have been drafted and in your packets. Is there any discussion or movement to approve or edit the minutes?
I would
So
move they be approved as presented.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on those minutes? We'd like to call the roll, please.
Jared Oliver,
Yes.
Steve Pajali,
Yes.
Colleen Gilson,
Yes.
John Orzak,
Yes.
Brendan Heil.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the first actual agenda item is one for parcel number 57-02553.000. We did hear this agenda item at the March 20th meeting. It was discovered that there was a prior disposition strategy for this property. Back in 2018 or 19, surrounding property owners were offered a chance to expand their backyards. And then basically the last meeting that they personally attended was in 2019. So at that time, I believe there was 5 interested parties. And then due to staffing changes, COVID-19, the land bank administrator position changed. This project was kind of just, the folder was closed and it wasn't opened again. So in March, it was presented that there was an application to build on that property. So when we opened the file, we noticed that there was an unfinished disposition strategy. So the updates are in red of this land bank report. And at the 320 Land Bank Committee meeting, it was requested that the land bank administrator reach back out to those adjoining property owners to see if there was still interest in the disposition strategy. Each property owner was sent a certified letter, and all letters either came back or people contacted me that they were interested or declined. If the letter came back as unclaimed, it was assumed denied or that they had no interest. A consistent response from those that responded with interest was that they would be willing to absorb and maintain their share of the property if their neighbor declines, or more than their share, I'm sorry. The consistent response from those that were not interested said that they were okay with their neighbor absorbing their property and maintaining that parcel. Some indicated that they have recreational vehicles, whether it be campers, boats, trailers, that they would like to store behind their homes. And the way that their homes are built now on either Rhodey Street or Pipe Street, there's really no access back there to, there's a small driveway or possible off-street parking, but no other way to get back to that back part. So an easement to access the rear of the existing property is vital to this disposition strategy, as most cannot get their vehicle back there anyway. The property owners have been notified that the city will not develop this easement. There will be no roadways created. The property would be sold as is, with splits for each property owner. In cases where the existing property owner is not interested in the land, their neighbor may absorb the property contiguous with their portion. No portion of land should be remain vacant. This position strategy should this disposition strategy be approved, staff will work with the property owners and planning department on the property splits and easements necessary to finalize each sale. Each property owner will sign a purchase agreement with the condition that that portion of their land should be combined with the Pipe Street property. The parcel information is on page 2. The first being the auditor's aerial. So the property is 3.368 acres in size. It's an oddly shaped parcel, and the only access back to that area is off of Pipe Street. The bottom shows the green zoning, which is R160. So that whole parcel is zoned for residential, or it's zoned as the same as the outside property owners. So the suggested price of each parcel will be the cost of the survey split, combination of parcels, and this includes deed preparation, transfer fees, recording fees, and any other fees associated with the disposition. Once this cost is determined, it shall be divided by the interested parties according to the size of the land that they intend to acquire. So some people might get a smaller portion than others, so obviously the ones with the larger portion are going to pay appropriately for that. The city will be relieved of the expense to maintain the property, and I have not received that number yet, but I know that there is a formula for equipment charges, number of people that cut property, and an administrative fee each time we cut a parcel. And it usually, if it's just one piece of equipment, one person doing the labor, and the administrative fee is about $245 each cut. So, if you add that up, we've had the property for quite some time. I believe it was 2015. We've spent a lot of money maintaining this property, so disposition would be a good thing for us. Since the land would be combined using this strategy with the existing parcels, property taxes may increase slightly for each property owner. The sale of the property would be contingent on your approval here at this committee, approval from other boards and commissions if necessary, and the approval from City Commission, and then they would have to fully execute a purchase and sale agreement with conditions. So it's requested now that either the Landbank Committee approve or deny this disposition strategy of the vacant parcel located on Pipe Street, behind Pipe and Rhodey, with the information provided. And then if approved, the request would go to City Commission for final approval. And I should note that you did hear this application last week. Mr. Piaget Hunter is here. He is the interested party that wanted to build a single-family residential parcel. So he may wish to speak at this time. Or
how's it going? Question is, how many people actually responded back that were interested in
Mr. Hunter, can you give your full name and your address where you live?
My name is Piaget Hunter, address 1817 Hancock Street, Sandusky, Ohio.
Thank you.
Okay. So we did have, I believe, 6 interested parties. So it would be property owner number 1, 2, and 5 on Pipe Street, and then 6, 8, and 12 on Rhodey Street. So I don't know if you guys still have this from the last meeting. You probably don't. For the screen. There's 3 property owners on Pipe, and then 4 on Rhodey. Or I'm sorry, 3 on Rhodey. So six interested parties.
Okay, and right now this Erie County is hurting for homes to be developed or whatnot, and you guys actually think it would be more viable to turn this property into a side lot expansion than to build new houses on it? I mean, that's my question.
Just myself, Steve Pajali talking. It appears to me there might be an access issue. And I thought this property, at one time, there was an owner who owned it on Rhodey Street, and he sold this property for property residential development, and obviously it never happened.
I mean, I can't help what didn't happen in the past, but there is an access to the property. And if you develop a home on it, there only needs to be one access on the property. So where's the issue? And even if not, you said that it has to be an easement for the surrounding property owners to use anyway. So who develops that easement? Who puts that there? We're still going right back to the same thing that someone has to
And my
put.
question was going to be, is there, and I mean, is there going to be a problem with the easement? I haven't talked to the planning commission. I mean, the planning department, I would have to talk to them. I don't know if staff has or not.
I don't believe we have. We're bringing here to get, well, I can let Debbie answer. Go ahead.
Well, back in 2018 and 19, there was a plan in place, but since we've, addressed all the property owners again, I don't know if we want to change that plan but the easement would have been right along the railroad tracks where the wooded area is, with probably half of the parcel the egress parcel or the access parcel. About half of that would be to go back in, and then towards the back to access the rear of their property.
Who owns that property now?
We own the whole thing.
Oh, we own it, so
Yeah,
we
we
could
own-
give the easement.
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was,
And obviously, staff has changed
Yeah.
since 19. But at that time, I can pull it out and show you guys, but the actual proposed strategy was, and you're getting into the back, entering the property through Pipe Street.
That's where the entrance is.
And then, back around here for the
the easement. Okay.
See, that's what I thought it was right there.
You may have been the only person here back then.
Yeah, I never saw it, but,
The black would be the easement around marker. It would be entry into the Pipe Street, so whether it's in the middle or side, but all the way back towards the railroad tracks. Now, I think 12 was the last interested party, so that it wouldn't have to go all the way down, it would just stop here and he would absorb those.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And also, it seems that you're putting everything in a time frame that everybody has to reply within a timely manner. So if this was brought about back in 2018, 2019, shouldn't that time limit be expired by now? And why wasn't that taken care of before you guys advertised that property for sale again?
Yeah.
You advertised this property for sale. I gave everything that I was supposed to give. I gave my building proposition, my building plan, the blueprint, and I came in at a full price offer.
Well, is it Mr. Pickens?
Excuse me?
Is it Mr. Pickens?
Mr. Pickens?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name.
Mr. Hunter?
Mr. Hunter, okay. I was confused. I didn't realize that you had come in with a plan to build a property back there.
Yeah, I came in with a plan. I gave a blueprint, I gave a building plan.
Yeah.
When was that?
So this was on the March meeting. So he had presented all of this to us in February, and the first meeting was in March. But once we got into this folder, there was a disposition strategy already started. And to my knowledge, there's no time frame on any.
I mean, you're putting the time frame in all of those letters as far as
It was
they
a-
need to respond by this time.
Well, yes,
In order
because we
for-
know that you have an application in. So we wanted to get this done quickly to see if they were still interested or not.
So is that common practice that you guys send out letters to solicit property before, when you get an offer on it, or?
No, we were just replying back to them about the 2019 disposition strategy that got kind of put on hold or on pause.
Yes, just to be clear, in 2019, the city decided to dispose of this property in a different manner, and that transaction was just never completed. And that's still pending. So we would have to revoke that and decide if we wanted to do something different with the property going forward. And what staff did was make sure that there were only so many people that responded, so any property owners received notice again to see if they were still interested, and apparently from the report, we've only received some property owners replied within the time frame given and said that they were interested in the existing disposition strategy that would give neighboring property owners additional side lots, which was the approved plan in 2019 that is still on the books. So that is like currently what the city is working off of, is that plan that was approved by the Landbank Committee previously to dispose of this property in a certain way. And the question, I guess, for today is, do we want to try to do that even though not 100% of these owners have signed up for it, which means we can't dispose of some parts of it still?
They have agreed to absorb more.
I have concerns with that, though. That is not something that I think we can just necessarily do. I think like, if folks had the opportunity, yeah, I have concerns with certain property owners getting a big chunk of this, while others maybe just didn't respond to the mail.
Yeah,
There is one more person than last time.
Got it.
Yeah, but, I'm good with whatever.
Well, there's two more because I'm included also, but.
Are
anyway,
you a neighboring property owner?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
And also, who will be in charge of absorbing those fees as far as the surveys, the land splits? If you did decide to split it amongst other property owners for side lot expansion, is there going to be something that guarantees that they'll have to put that easement in there? And is there a timely manner in that?
So if the city were to go forward with some sort of disposition property that required an easement, the city would work with the future owners on the easement. Costs are usually borne by the property owner that receives the additional property. So to the extent that there are survey and parcel and closing costs, those are usually borne by the property owner that receives the property. But it depends on the final determination and what exactly both this board and then city commission approves.
Yeah, my point is, like I said, the property was advertised for sale at a certain price. It was on the list that Debbie circulated. I did what I was supposed to do. I came in, I delivered all my paperwork, I made my offer. So I wouldn't even be opposed as to splitting it in half and let them take the rest of whatever is left.
So the other thing, though, is those are not advertised for sale just as is. That still has to be approved by multiple boards and city commission.
Well, Debbie
That's
circulated
not,
it.
I understand. I'm just answering some questions. But that does not mean you are guaranteed to get that property. That still has to come to this board and city commission for actual sale of property. Those are just what is available for people to apply to get. Those sales, though, still have to be approved both by the Landbank Committee, which you're in front of now, and City Commission, which I don't think there's been a decision made on this property yet, but which is why we're here today.
right. I guess my question is, did you want to build one single-family residence?
I could possibly build multiple residences back there. It just really depends on how much of the property that I can be awarded, that I can buy.
The
So, I
issue-
mean, I can actually build more than one property there. You have an easement, and some people consider it landlocked, but it's just like a cul-de-sac. A cul-de-sac is technically landlocked with one road that goes in, and everybody shares that one access road that goes in.
Yeah, and the issue then becomes, if you're going to develop that property for multiple residences, you have to build roads and do those kind of things and meet the subdivision regulations. So I'm just trying to be clear on
Like a
what you're trying to
multifamily
do.
home back there, we still have one roadway to get in and out, which would be sufficient.
Right,
You have more than one driveway, but you would have one road to enter and exit.
yeah, but there is no road now.
No, there's no road now.
Yeah,
but-
somebody would have to put that road in, I think.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
And I guess, I don't know about my fellow committee members, it appears to me that maybe what we ought to do is table this matter and look back at what Mr. Hunter had presented and then come back to this group and make a decision at that time.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I would move that we table this until, what, the next meeting?
Yeah, the next
Okay.
meeting will be July.
And perhaps you could, did you talk to the planning commission, the planning department, or did you just submit that information to?
Zoned as residential, so is it actually zoned as single-family residential?
Yeah.
Is it zoned as multifamily residential?
That's a good question.
R160 would be single family.
So you applied, you submitted applications to purchase it to the land bank?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'd be good to include that in our materials and kind of compare and get some ideas.
And even if it's single-family, then the problem's already solved because you got one access point.
And Mr. Hunter, you said that you submitted building plans for permitting,
Yeah,
and where?
I submitted that to Debbie.
I was going to get that from the planning department because you had applied through them, I believe, for something different.
Okay.
Or if you need another blueprint or whatever, I could bring it over, I could walk over and grab one, either or, so.
I think if what would be helpful, and it sounds like you've pretty much submitted all of this, is all of that, is your plans for the site, what you're asking, what you plan on, what you would like to do with it if the city decided to sell the property or a portion of it to you. I don't know if there's anything else that would help this committee.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
What the plans are.
I'd like to see that, as well as have planning staff review his draft or his documents and plan
Make sure it doesn't
to
need
make sure that
variance.
it meets. I don't want to come to another meeting and have Mr. Hunter submit his plans and everybody say, okay, and then planning, there's some issues with the planning department and, so I would hope that we could have all of his documents reviewed by planning as well for this site before our meeting.
Go ahead.
Who do I need to submit that to?
Debbie.
Yeah. and then I
Debbie will
can-
circulate it to
Whatever,
everybody else.
I can do to circulate that to the planning department. But
And
it
it-
might be important, I think this body might want to know, like, where
Yeah.
your house would like, where you'd like to
Well,
go.
then it, again, depends on how much of the property that I would get. So,
I would say make a proposal that you're looking to do. Staff can put you in touch with the planning division because they might have some follow-up questions about setbacks and other requirements out there to see what's feasible even because it's kind of an odd-shaped parcel tucked back there. So the more information and follow-up questions you can answer for them, that gives us the information so we can kind of fully vet it, the better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll need to know if it's just a single-family house or if you're going to do multi-families, so that, when they split that property up or where that property's going to be positioned, you don't have flag lots and problems with access and those kind of things.
well,
The
then,
more information you can bring in, the better.
and like I said, again, it really depends on if they're going to give me a variance for a multifamily or if I'm just getting part of the property or all of the property. So that really plays a big role in it as well.
I would, if you have suggestions, say you were like, well, if I get this portion of the property, this is what I would do. If I get the whole thing, this is what I would do. That would also work. I mean, I don't think you can't give us too much information on this side.
Okay.
My suggestion would be that we schedule a meeting with you, we take a look at what you proposed originally, and then we walk through and look at the parcel, hear what your plans would be if you were to get more, and come up with a proper disposition strategy from that we can bring back to this body.
Okay.
I think that's a very good idea.
I move to table this matter as proposed today.
Second?
Second.
Okay, anything else for me?
No.
Okay, do we need to call a roll on that, or, okay?
Yes.
Steve Pajali,
Yes.
Jared Oliver,
Yes.
Brendan Howe,
Yes.
John Orzak.
Yes.
Colleen Gilson.
Yes.
I'll be in touch with Mr. Hunter. We'll work with the planning department, and we'll see if we can come up with a new strategy by the next meeting. All right, the next item is a request for an extension to the rehab property at 421 Fulton Street. If you may recall, that in May of 2021, the Landbank Committee recommended sale of 421 Fulton Street to Lucas Keller, managing member of Slip In Concrete, for the purpose of rehabilitation. The property consists of a two-story, single-family residential structure with 1,904 square feet of living space with 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. The home was in desperate need of interior and exterior renovations, and Mr. Keller took ownership of the property in 2022. This past November, Mr. Keller requested the adjacent property at 423 Fulton Street, also owned by the City Land Bank, to make an addition to the existing home that he is renovating. The additions included a 2-car garage with a breezeway entry into the home, master bedroom, and bath on the first floor, all ADA compliant for a family member that will occupy the home once complete. Staff visited the site in November to perform a progress check on the property and allowed the rehabilitation project to be paused until the outcome of the sale of the adjacent property. The reason for the pause was that the building plans would have needed to change should the adjacent parcel be acquired. At the March 20, 2023 meeting, the Land Bank Committee recommended sale of the vacant parcel at 423 Fulton Street, which was also approved by City Commission by unanimous vote. And then on May 1st, 2023, Mr. Keller actually took ownership of the adjacent property. He has since combined the 2 parcels required and submitted new building plans. And all of this requires more work than the original scope of work for the rehab itself. He has requested an extension to complete the new scope of work up to August 31st of 2023. Deadline extensions have been given in the past administratively and do not require City Commission approval. So it is requested that the Land Bank Committee allow for an extension to the deadline to complete the rehabilitation of the property at 421 Fulton Street. And if approved, the new deadline for completion and renovations will be August 31st of 2023.
What was the original deadline?
The original deadline, I think, was pushed out to June 1 or June 30th.
Okay.
That was at the November site visit, but it just took so long for him to acquire this property through the approvals and.
So it would be just a couple of months?
Just a couple of months, because, from November till May, we've kind of held up his progress. So I did go by the property last week. All of the siding's been torn off, so that's ready to re-side. The windows are ready to be replaced. He has dug out the driveway for this new garage addition. So it appears that he is very committed to making this work by August 31st.
Got it.
I'm going to actually move approval to extend the deadline, but I'd actually like consideration to extend out a little further to October 31st,
Oh.
considering the fact that construction trades are hard to hire at this moment, rather than having to come back for an extension. If it gets done sooner, great. So I move approval to extend the deadline to complete the rehabilitation for the property until October 31st, 2023.
I'll second it, and that was going to be my recommendation as well, to extend it, because I think that it's too aggressive to have it done by August, and I don't want them to have to come back to this body for another extension, so I second that motion.
Okay. Any further discussion on this actual agenda item? Okay. Could we call the roll, please?
Colleen Gilson.
Yes.
John Orzak.
Yes.
Jared Oliver.
Yes.
Brendan Howe.
Yes.
Steve Pajali.
Yes.
I will give him that news. And I'm sure that he'll just continue what he's doing. He's making good progress. The next agenda item is a sideline expansion request for 402 Bell Street. Renee Brown resides at 320 Bell Street. She's requested ownership of 402 Bell. Her request is for sole ownership of the parcel. Ms. Brown recently acquired the adjoining property at 320 Bell and intends to use the yard space to plant a garden and add extra parking for her and her family. Ms. Brown owns another property and is current on property taxes and free of code violations for both parcels. The city acquired the property through sheriff's sale in March, just this year. The parcel is vacant and zoned R2F. The lot size is approximately 31 by 187. And the properties to the west are addressed as Hayes Avenue property or parcels. And they're also zoned differently at local business. So the next page will show the different colors of the zoning. To the far west is the local business, and then the outlined parcel is the parcel she's requesting, which is the same zoning as her existing parcel. The purchase price for side lot expansion will be no less than $200 plus all of the expenses included in the property transfer, including combination and recording. Payment is due in full when the purchase and sale agreement are signed. Once the purchase and sale agreement is fully executed, deeds will be requested to transfer the parcel and then combine the two properties. The city will be relieved of maintaining the parcel, which is approximately $250 each time the property is mowed. Any taxes will be added to the current tax bill once the parcels are combined. And then conditions would be approval from this committee, approval from City Commission, a fully executed purchase and sale agreement with the conditions, and that the property is combined with the existing parcel. It's requested at this point that the Landbank Committee either approve or deny this application for the purchase of 402 Bell Street through the side lot expansion program based on the information provided. And if approved by this body, it will be taken to the City Commission.
I would move to approve this request.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. I'll ask Quinn to call the roll, please.
Brendan Howe,
Yes.
Steve Pajali,
Yes.
Jared Oliver,
Yes.
Colleen Gilson,
Yes.
John Orzak.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll draw up that purchase agreement for the City Commission. The next item on the agenda is another side lot expansion. Background on this one is at 2201 Campbell Street. Background on this is Family Initiatives of Huron County requested ownership of the city-owned vacant parcel at 2201 Campbell Street for side lot expansion. There are no other adjacent property owners, so this will not be a lot split. Family Initiatives is a nonprofit housing board that owns the adjacent property located at 2205 Campbell. And this is just one of 18 properties within Erie County that is owned by the board, most of them being within the city limits. Their responsibility is to provide affordable housing to individuals with developmental disabilities that are capable of living in the community independently or with support brought into the home. The parcel information, this one was acquired through gift of deed. We acquired the property on 11/22 of 16. The structure was fire damaged after a criminal arson occurred. A family member was killed in the home prior to the fire. So the family had no interest in keeping that property, whether there was a structure on it or not. They offered it to the city for demolition. The vacant parcel sits on a corner and is zoned R140, single-family residential. And the next three parcels to the south are zoned the same. The lot size is approximately 36 by 132. In past efforts to dispose of the land bank inventory, the city reached out to Family Initiatives of Huron County in 2019 to offer the property for side lot expansion. The auditor's valuation at that time was $10,150. and no response was received back from the board. The pictures show the zoning and the aerial from the auditor's website. The purchase price for a side lot expansion will be no less than $200 plus all the expenses included in the property transfer, including combination and recording. Payment in full is due when the purchase and sale agreement is signed. And once the purchase and sale agreement is fully executed by the city, deeds will be requested to transfer the parcel and then to combine the two properties. The city will be relieved of maintaining the parcel, which is approximately $250 each time the property is mowed. So this one we've been cutting since 2016 with no other interested applications. Any tax on the land will be added to the current tax bill once the parcels are combined. Same conditions and contingencies. Approval from the Landbank Committee would be required, and then approval from City Commission. A fully executed purchase and sale agreement with conditions, and the property must be combined with the existing property. It's requested that the Landbank Committee either approve or deny the application to purchase 2201 Campbell Street with the information provided. If approved, a purchase and sale agreement will be drawn up for City Commission approval.
And no one has ever reached out about this property to our knowledge?
They have not. It's a corner property.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know
I
if,
think you could put a house on that, but, because it's right on the corner. That's a long time, though.
The history of the property might have something to do with why nobody reached out.
Oh,
I agree.
okay.
Yeah. I've never heard of family initiatives of Huron County. Are they like a habitat-type organization? I see where they provide housing for individuals with developmental disabilities.
Yeah, the application was actually presented from Diane Corso, who's acting on their behalf. But she gave me a little bit of background saying that, she works closely with family initiatives here in county. And then I had no idea that they had so many properties in the city as well. So.
Yeah, I was surprised about that too, and the fact that they operate out of Huron County, but also have come into Erie County. I wasn't sure if Habitat goes into Huron County or how that works. It was just a question I had.
Yeah, I think that this organization acquires property. I don't think they build the properties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they acquire properties for their clients.
Well, I would move to approve this request as presented.
Second.
Okay, does anybody have any discussion on this one?
I have a problem with the side lot, or the corner lot thing, but due to the situation, I guess it's the best case scenario, so I'll vote yes, but I don't love
Yeah.
it.
I tend to think, based on its location, that it would have been nice if we could have, but that's what, my math is correct, 7 years that we've had it. I think we would have found someone to use it by now, I would have hoped. So I will probably vote yes as well.
It'll be interesting to see what my fellow commissioners think about that property too.
Yeah, it's true.
They may think the same way.
Okay. Could you call the roll, please?
Jared Oliver,
Yes.
John Orzak,
Yes.
Colleen Gilson,
Yes.
Brendan Heil,
Yes.
Steve Pajali.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We will get in contact with them and create a purchase and sale agreement for City Commission on that one. The next one, so Habitat for Humanity, Ryan Hodges, did reach out. And as you know, they purchase property from us just about every year. They build nice homes for families, that are qualified for that. So at this point, Ryan wanted to secure 8 parcels of land for new construction by entering into an agreement with the city of Sandusky. And I know that this one will probably take some time since an agreement would have to be drawn up and, by both parties and, conditions through both parties. But basically, what he's requesting is parcel number 58-02075-000, which appears in the 800 block of Clay Street, or 1800, I'm sorry. 58-01076.000, which is actually 1913 Camp Street. 58-01136.000, which is 1810 Harrison Street, which is right next door to where they're currently building their latest house. 57-01928. This would be a combination of 3 small parcels. So this is actually 729 Warren. I'll try to put my cursor up here. 733 Warren, and then there's a little tiny piece back here on Reese Street. So this would actually be disposing of 3 land bank parcels that haven't really gotten much interest. And the final would be a combination of 2 parcels on Mill Street, 58-00639.000, which is 2012 Mills, and the right next door parcel at 58-00370.000. So I will go back then and read some history. The background information is that Firelands Habitat for Humanity has requested all of these parcels from the City Land Bank. Their proposal would be to construct 5 single-family residential homes for qualified families in a 5-year period of time. So that's one per year, but he did kind of mention that he might be able to get it done a little faster since we don't have to go to the individual approval process for each one. If an MOU is drafted, they will immediately begin maintaining these lots, relieving the city of that expense. Their proposal includes constructing 3 homes on all of these lots. Or, I'm sorry, three homes on the, 3 homes on the following lots. So, okay, 3 homes on the Clay Street, Camp Street, and Harrison Street lots. I apologize. So that's the first 3 that I went through. They intend to combine, the top picture is the 3 pieces, 3 portions, smaller lots. And then the bottom picture is combining 2 parcels on Mill Street. The city has partnered with Firelands Habitat for Humanity for a number of years. A total of 10 parcels have been purchased by the nonprofit organization, creating housing for families that might not otherwise have the opportunity for home ownership. The sale of these parcels to Firelands Habitat for Humanity will provide new residential infill housing in areas of need. The parcels will be put back into tax-producing status, increasing revenue for the taxing districts. Construction of the first home will be in 2024, and then all homes will be constructed and occupied by 2029 at the latest. Each home will take approximately 1 year to construct. I think I already did do the parcel information. So the budget impact. So the purchase of each parcel will be no less than $1,500 plus closing cost. Firelands Habitat for Humanity has offered all of the parcels at once to maintain them until they are developed, relieving the city of the expense. The taxing district will begin collecting real estate taxes once the structure is built. And then the usual contingencies and conditions. The property would be, or recommendation from the Land Bank Committee by approval today. The approval from City Commission, a fully executed purchase and sale agreement, and the conditions within for each parcel. And approvals from outside boards and commissions as necessary. So the action requested is either approve or deny this application for an MOU to purchase the vacant land located on Clay, Camp, Harrison, Warren, Reese, and Mill Streets based on the information provided. And then if approved, we will go before City Commission for final approval. And as stated, this is a different kind of scenario, so we would have to really work hard on an MOU and get some feedback from them and agree on everything.
I'd like to make a motion to enter an agreement with Habitat on all of the parcels that you indicated in the communication.
Second.
Okay, are there any concerns with any of this type of sale or discussion needed?
I have no concerns. I think that the need for new housing in light of a recent study that was made available to the region, as well as the targeted efforts of building some new construction and trying to catalyze development on the south side, where we recently developed and adopted a plan for the area. So I am also in full support of this.
Yes, I would agree with Ms. Gilson. I think that in order to try to provide some housing, we're going to have to go through a number of different housing mechanisms, and this is just one more way to chip away at it.
I know we made a significant investment in taking down some trees on the Mill Street property. That was the biggest tree I ever seen in the
I know.
city.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But, yeah, I'm excited. I would love to have them kick off our south side plan and initiative and build a house in the south side as one of their first projects for '24. That's great news.
Okay, I think we're ready to call the roll then.
Okay. Steve Pajali,
Yes.
John Orzak,
Yes.
Brendan Heil,
Yes.
Colleen Gilson,
Yes.
Jared Oliver.
Yes.
Okay. I will work with Firelands Habitat, and I'm sure Brendan will be asking for your advice as well. Thank you so much. So the last item on the agenda is for a purchase request for new construction at the parcel located at 57-03969.000. And this is on 2nd Street. Richard Reeder is requesting to purchase the vacant lot in the 1800 block of 2nd Street, parcel number 57-03969.000. The purpose is to construct a 2-story residential dwelling with storage on the 1st floor and residential living on the 2nd floor. The area currently has storage facilities throughout 1st Street, so this is not an uncommon request. The applicant resides a short distance away at 564 Nantucket Drive and needs more storage than provided at the current residence. The proposal is to construct a 2-story single-family residence that will host a large storage area, kitchen, and bathroom on the 1st floor. The 2nd floor will be 3 bedrooms and 1.5 bath. The upper portion will occasionally host family and will not be used for short-term rental. The city acquired the property in 2015 through tax foreclosure, so we've been maintaining it for almost 8 years. The vacant parcel is located on 2nd Street and is zoned R140, single-family residential. The lot size is approximately 40 by 135. And as you can see by the current picture, this was just taken on Thursday. It's not really aesthetically pleasing at the moment. So just to show, right across the street, so this is showing the back portion of 1st Street. So this is the view actually from this parcel that they're applying for. There's a similar use on 1st Street, which is a much larger use and is storage only. And then the second picture down is the view of that same building from 1st Street. So I didn't ask for entire building plans. I think that will be our next step because architectural plans, do cost a little bit of money. So the applicant actually just provided, what it's going to look like from the outside. They propose to build a 28-foot by 60-foot building and will comply with all zoning requirements. Pictured is the eastern elevation with a larger door and a western elevation. The purchase price of each of the parcel will be no less than $1,500 plus closing cost. Oh, what did I do here? So the readers have offered, yeah, I think I combined two different reports here. So they do know that they have offered the $1,500 plus closing cost. It will relieve the city of the maintenance expense. And then by returning this non-productive land into tax-producing status, the taxing districts will begin collecting real estate taxes once the structure is built. Sale of the property is contingent on the approval from this body to recommend to City Commission, and then the approval from City Commission, fully executed purchase and sale agreement with conditions, and the approval from outside boards and commissions as necessary. It's requested that the Landbank Committee either approve or deny this application for the purchase of parcel number 57-03969.000 on 2nd Street, based on the information provided. And then if approved, a purchase agreement will be drafted and presented to City Commission for approval.
I would move to approve this request as presented.
Second.
I just would comment that they should probably make sure they talk to the planning department to make sure when they bring that to the planning commission that, you know, there's not any bugs or anything that might hold the project up. And the other thing I wondered is there a curb cut on this property?
I know that there was a demolition on the property, but it does not appear.
So there probably is a curb cut.
Well, yeah, it doesn't appear in the live photo that I did the other day.
If they want a curb cut, they'll have to talk to engineering.
Absolutely, and I'm sure they will want one. Yeah, it is proposed that we will get all the approvals first before we take this to City Commission.
Okay.
Make sure that everything goes good. Any other discussion on the property? Okay, we'll call the roll on the motion to approve.
Jared Oliver,
Yes.
Colleen Gilson,
Yes.
Brendan Heil,
Yes.
John Orzak,
Yes?
Steve Pajali.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we will move forward with the applicant and reach out to those planning and zoning departments to make sure everything's in line with what they want to do. That's the end of my agenda items. I can open up for any discussion that the board might have. Or if not, we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we're adjourned.